Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight for our parent informational meeting on kindergarten and your incoming kindergarten student. So we want to welcome our new students that are going to be the class of 2036 to our district. You'll be able to find this recorded presentation as well as other resources on our website. Once it's completed, it will be posted. You can also find an FAQ and other information that may be relevant to what you need for kindergarten registration, and that can all be found on our website. Our website is www.strongnet.org. If you're looking to find this information, you'll want to go Families and then Enroll a Student. So let me show you what that looks like. If you go strongnet.org, go Families, and Enroll a Student. And we're also adding a quicker link, but here's kindergarten registration. This is where you'll want to go. And this has all of the documents and information needed. Like I said, we're also putting it in a Find It Fast. So when you're on our website, you can go to Find It Fast, kindergarten registration. Either one will take you to the same spot. If you're just looking for where you're going to do the full day request form, it will be the third bullet down. We will link that here. And then how to pay the deposit is the fourth bullet. So if that's the only reason you're here tonight and you just wanted to see where to find these things, it's on our website under kindergarten. However, I'm going to walk you through all of the different information, talk about both the half day and the full day program, and hopefully answer any questions that you may have. So first, I want to introduce you to our district staff. You can see everybody listed here below has an important role with our academics and with your incoming kindergarten student. If you need assistance or you want to reach out to any of these people, all of their emails can be found on our website. And our elementary principals. So this year we have 5 buildings. We've had 5 for quite a few years. So our principals at the buildings, at Chapman we have Mrs. Harrell, Kinsner's Mr. Diedrich, Moraski has Mr. Griffin, Sarar has Dr. Razzo, Whitney has Mrs. Hawk, and then Moraski and Kinsner share Mr. Lawrence as an assistant principal. Here are our current kindergarten teachers. So you can see how many classes are at each building. Each of those has one half-day class. So one of those teachers listed teaches a half-day at that building. The rest are full day. It may not be the exact same number of classes next year. It may not be these exact same teachers, but this is just to give you an idea of who we currently have at the buildings and how many sections. Again, that's all open to change depending upon how many incoming kindergarten students we have and how many classrooms that we need. So an important piece to make sure, in order for your child to attend kindergarten in the fall, he or she has to be 5 years old before August 1st. So some districts, and ours many years ago, used a September cutoff. We now use August 1st for when your child must be 5 in order to automatically be able to attend our kindergarten. Now, if your child has a birthday between August 1st and December 31st, and they're going to be 5 between August 1st and December 31st, we do have a process for early enrollment, and that would include early entrance testing. So it's a pretty rigorous test that we do academics as well as IQ type testing. And then we look at all the other factors such as maturity and socialization, those type of things, to see if your child would qualify to attend kindergarten if they're not quite 5 yet. If your child happens to have a birthday after December 31st and won't be 5 until the next year, they are not eligible to attend kindergarten. So if you can, again, if you have a child that will turn 5 after August 1st, you can call our curriculum office to set up early entrance testing that we'll do in the spring with a psychologist. Just a couple notes for early entrance only. So if you're one of those people, your child turns 5 between August 1st and the end of the year, December 31st, and you're interested in full day kindergarten, you can go on and fill out that request form saying, yes, I want full day, but do not submit a deposit. So you don't need to do that part. If you are early entrance and you're interested in half day, you don't need to do anything at this point. We will wait until after we give your child the tests in the spring, see if he or she would qualify, and then work toward placing them and getting them registered in the district. So the two options for kindergarten, we have our traditional half-day program, and students attend either in the AM or the PM, and their time at the building is approximately 2.5 hours. So you can see on the screen there the time frames for the AM and PM sessions. The students will ride the bus if they're getting transportation with the rest of the students going to that building on the same route. So your child may, for either full or half day, if they're on a bus, they will probably be with kids grades kindergarten through 5th grade, all going to the same building that live in that same general neighborhood. The tuition-based full day program, the kids will attend full day just like any other student in the building, 1st through 5th grade. Same thing, they'll ride a bus with those 1st through 5th graders if they are being bused. So a question we often get is, why do we charge in Strongsville for full day kindergarten? So unfortunately, the state pays only for a half day funding. So they provide us enough money per kindergarten student to fund for half day instruction. In order for us to have the teacher, the personnel, material supplies, all of those things that go into it, we need to charge the other half of the day back to the family. So we are not making any profit on this. We are charging exactly what the cost is to us to educate for that full day versus what the state pays us to educate the half day. There is no online option this upcoming year. We did have an online option a few years back when we were more in COVID time, but no online option for elementary students. So differences between full and half-day programs. Both of them are going to give your child a premier education. We have fantastic teachers, both half and full day. Your child is going to learn the same content and skills in both half and full day programs. So we use the academic standards from Ohio Department of Education, and they outline what every kindergartner student in the state needs to know. So again, whether your child is half or full day, that's the curriculum he or she will be exposed to. Now, because a full day student is there for double the time, our teachers are able to do a little bit more, go in a little more depth with that content and with those skills. So they may be able to do some more hands-on type things. We have Makerspace, which is a technology-based program or a feature that we have in our media centers. There's more time for our full day students to go a little bit deeper and like I said, maybe some project-based learning. But either way, your child's going to learn the same content and skills. If your child is in the full day program, they'll have a longer period of time that they will have art, music, or physical education each day. They will also have lunch in the cafeteria. and recess. If your child is in half day, that time that they have each day for either art, music, or phys ed is condensed to about half the time, 20 some minutes. And then they don't have lunch, they don't have recess at the building. We do keep our half day and full day classes separate from each other, meaning the kids that are in half day are all half day kids together. The kids in full day are all full day kids in the same classroom. So moving on, we look to keep class counts below or at 25 students in all kindergarten classrooms. So that's always our goal. In order to form a full day kindergarten class, to make another section at a building, we need to have at least 20 students in order to run that class. So we don't have a set or predetermined number of full day classes at each building. It's determined by the number of students that are interested at each building. And once we hit another 20 at an elementary school, we could form another full day class, provided there's room in the building. If we fill the full day classes at a building and we don't have that 20 to make another class, we could do one of two things, and probably both, but we would put your child on a waiting list for their home building for full day, and or we would offer a spot at a different building that may have room in the full day class. So those are a couple options. You don't have to do the other building. If you want your child at their home school, you can always decline that. Typically we have really good placement, and most of the time we have all of our kids at their home building in the full day program if that's what they want. If there are siblings, we do make every effort to keep them together and not split them at different elementary schools. The order in which we have incoming full day kindergarten students on a list comes from the intent form. So the registration form, request form, and then deposit. So starting tomorrow morning, which is Thursday the 12th, we will open up that online survey. And it's a Google form. It's really just going to ask some basic questions about information about the parent, information about the child, address, phone number, those type of things. So it's not real comprehensive. You don't have to have a lot of things ready to go at that point. It's just general information. So we'll have a list of interested full day kindergarten students, and then we'll follow through with a $300 deposit. So I'll go into that in the next few slides here. Just that last bullet here, doing the request form and the deposit saves a slot in the full day program in the order in which we receive it. But again, it's not necessarily always at the child's home school. We will try, certainly, but sometimes we are able to place them in a different building if that works. And then the following year, they could come back to their home building if there's that room. As far as transportation, we do provide transportation to and from the school if you are about a mile over. So we have a link on our website, and you'll see it when you go to the kindergarten registration. If we're over a mile, they will bus you. There's a link for non-bused streets by building. So if you're not sure, you think maybe you're about a mile and you want to check, we do have that listed. Again, we really want to keep kids at their neighborhood schools, and we will make all efforts to do so. If we have to place your child at a different building, we do bus your child to and from that building, of course. Something we often get asked at kindergarten meetings, can my child be bused to a babysitter's house? The answer is yes, if the babysitter or care provider is within the school's boundary, so where they would be getting dropped off on that route anyhow. So they won't transport them to a different location across town, but if it's within the school's boundary and in the same half-day session area as the parent. Again, the home location. You're allowed to drive your child, even if you're supposed to have bus transportation. The earliest drop-off time would be 10 minutes prior to that start time that you saw a few slides back. So parents often want to know, can they select half-day sessions, AM or PM, based on their work schedules or whatever reasons that they have. We don't always offer both AM and PM at each building. In fact, this year we only had one half day at each building. So it was either an AM or a PM, obviously. So there weren't any options for parents to want to do a different time of day. So if we should happen to have both an AM and a PM, and again, this is all decided upon the number of students that we get registering, and you need AM or PM specifically, or you would like that, you would want to work with your building principal and see if that's an option. If you do decide to do that, we would have the parent do the midday transportation if your request is granted. And again, we can answer questions on that further along, down the road when we get to that situation. So when will you know the building assignment? We will mail those out in April. And at that point, you can decide if you're looking at full day, yes or no, if you want to do the full day at the selected building. Again, most of the time it's going to be at the home building, but if there's an instance where we could place at a different building, that's when you would find out. And again, you do not have to accept that placement. You can do a waiting list, or you can just decide not to do full day. Again, I don't want to make anyone nervous. Typically, we are able to place the vast majority of kids, if not all kids, at their home buildings. But we do want to put this out there in case we have situations. We just never know what the enrollment is going to be. In late June, that's when you'll get more information on how to get online and create an account that will help tell you about transportation. It'll give you some more information. You don't need to worry about that yet, but just know in late June, that's how you would get on your parent account. And then actual classroom and teacher assignments, those are posted at the building about a week before school begins. And that's how you would find out who your child has for their teacher. The next couple slides pertain only to students that are attending our Strongsville Early Learning Preschool. This is for either our location on Lunn Road or the preschool at Chapman. So if this applies to you, you don't have to do the full registration process that we're going to talk about that starts in February. The only thing you need to do if your child is going into kindergarten from SELP, you would do the full day request form if that's something you're interested in. And then also the deposit to follow. Sometimes we get asked, if a child has an IEP and may need full day, do they have to do the payment, those type of things? And those are individual questions that we can certainly answer at the time. But the general gist of this is if your child attends early learning preschool, you want full day, you'll go on and do that full day registration intent form, you'll do the deposit, but you don't have to go on to our site and do the full registration that you'll see coming up. So here's what you want to do, again, if you're not in our early preschool. So this applies to probably 95% of you watching right now. So again, your child needs to be 5 before August 1st. If you're one of those parents and you want to have your child tested for early entrance, that's where you'll see this box in the tan there. If your child turns 5 after August 1st and you're going to do early entrance, the only thing you need to do if you want full day is fill out that request form. So you don't need to do a deposit. We're not going to ask for any money until we know for sure that your child would qualify. So again, if your child's not 5 by August 1st, you want to do early entrance, you'll fill out that request form only for full day. If you just want half day, then you do nothing at this point except call our office and get scheduled for early entrance testing. So for everybody else, here's what you want to do. There's a full day kindergarten request form. It's going to open tomorrow morning, January 12th at 8 a.m. So you'll go to that link, you will answer the questions, fill them in. Again, here's what it will look like. It's not yet open, but address, zip code, phone numbers, date of birth, homeschool if you know it, siblings, and then early learning preschool. It's as easy as that. If you go before 8 a.m., you will get this screen, and that's just letting you know that we will activate that form right around 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, Thursday, the 12th. So going back to this, once you do the request, do that first, then you'll want to pay the $300 deposit. You'll have about 2 weeks to get that deposit in, and I'll show you the ways here in a second, but we need the $300 deposit by January 27th at the end of the workday, 4 o'clock. After that, you're on the list, your spot is held, you've paid, you've done the intent form. There's an online registration process that we'll have you do, but it won't be open until mid-February. So nobody has to do this whole part yet. This is essentially saying my child is going to come to Strongsville City Schools. Here is all the documentation. So birth certificate and proof of residency and all of those things. That'll happen mid-February and go until March 10th. So nothing you need to do right now, but mid-February, start checking our website and you'll see when it opens for next school year. We do ask that required documentation that goes along with enrolling your child, that you submit that by March 10th. If you have any issues with that, you can always call our registrar, let them know that you're aware you're missing something, and that's okay. We just want to put this deadline on so we have the majority of things in by then, and we know which children are coming to Strongsville. Here are the required documentations that you will need. And again, this is not for the full day. This is not to do tomorrow or this week. This is mid-February by March 10th. So they'll need your birth certificate, immunization records, proof of residency, legal custody, guardianship, and then if your child has an IEP or ETR, you'll be familiar with that and you would want to submit a copy. If that's not something that you've heard or are familiar with, then odds are your child doesn't have one and you won't need to submit anything. So again, those, you might want to start gathering up those documents and we'll submit them by March 10th. So the whole online registration for Strongsville City Schools is done all online. We used to have families come in. We've moved to an online only submission. So again, this is starting in mid-February, running through March 10th. A couple different ways that you can do the documentation. You can just straight up upload them onto the registration site. That's the easiest way for us. If it is easy for you, we ask that you do it that way. If not, and you have a scanner and an email, we will have you email that to our new registrar. So you'll see here that we are in transition from a current registrar to a new hire. So we will have that email address put into the actual website. It'll tell you online where you need to send that. You could also use your iPad, iPhone, other phone, take a picture of the documents and email them to our new registrar. Or if you're more of a paper person, you want to give us copies of these items. We do have a locked drop box at the front of our administrative building located at 18199 Cook Avenue. We do ask that you take your documents, you assemble them all together and put them in a large envelope and then put that into our drop box. That way everything's together and we know who it's for and it's an easier process. Again, if you can't get something to us by March 10th, we're going to have you just give us a call and let us know when we should expect it, and that's no problem. Here's just, again, some more information or reiteration. Before you do all of that, we want to make sure, if you're interested in full day, that you fill out the full day request form. That's your first step. Then you'll want to do the deposit, and that's due before the 27th. We'll get to that in just a minute about ways to pay. Then you'll go on in mid-February through March 10th, and you'll do the registration process online. Now, if we get to March 10th and you decide after that date that you want to do full day kindergarten, you still can. You can do the intent form. However, we may again have to put your child on a waiting list or go into a different building if there's not room at the home school. So there's really not a cutoff per se until we get the class filled in the summer. If you decide at a later date and time you want to do full day. However, your options or your odds are best to get into the home building if you do the full day registration request as early as possible, starting tomorrow morning. So the cost for the full day program, it varies between about $2,200 and $2,700 for the year. This varies depending upon how many full day students we have enrolled. So the more students that are interested, the lower the costs will be. But it will be right in that price range. The deposit that we're asking for is $300 to hold that slot, and that can be submitted to the treasurer's office. And there's a couple ways in which you can do that. The final tuition cost will be communicated to you once we have it finalized. So typically that's in the summer. As we talked about, you'll get the placement, the cost, and then at that point you can decide if that's what you want to do. We will bill you in 2 installments minus the deposit. That first tuition payment is due August 4th. So just if you're planning ahead, these are going to be the 2 dates. August 4th for half of the cost, and then December 15th for the rest of the cost. There is a slight discount paid if you pay the full year by August 5th. We offer a $50 discount on the full amount. So here are the ways in which you can pay. This applies to the deposit, and then also again could apply to when you actually are billed for tuition. But here's what we're talking about, the $300 deposit specifically right now. You can always bring cash in person to our treasurer's department, which is at Cook Avenue. We are here until about 4 o'clock on weekdays. You can do a check payable to Strongsville City Schools and drop that off here, or you can mail it. Just please be cognizant of us needing to receive it by January 27th. So send it a few days ahead of that. Our address is on the middle of the screen there. The last option is credit or debit card. There is a link online in which you can pay that. Like every other business, we do have a surcharge that applies. It's lower if you use a debit card versus a credit card, but that option is there. We cannot accept any credit or debit card payments at the treasurer's department in person. So if you need to come in person, it's going to be for cash or check. The link to pay is on the kindergarten registration website. It will look similar to this when it's live. And this is how you would pay if you're going to pay online with a credit or debit card. A couple other factual type things here. If we don't get the tuition payment by August 4th and December 15th, we'll reach out, we'll remind you. But if we don't receive it and you don't plan on sending it, then we'll put the child in a half-day program instead of the full day. If something comes up and you need to work out a payment plan, please call our treasurer's office. Sometimes we're able to do that. However, we need to know in advance that that's something you want to work through. If you decide, I'm going to fill out the online kindergarten registration form, I'm going to pay my deposit, but then you change your mind, that's fine. You can do that. I just caution you, do that before May 26th if you want to get the full $300 deposit back. If you do it before July 14th, we can give you back half of that deposit. But then after July 14th, there aren't refunds for that. Couple questions we sometimes get: is there after school, before school care? We've now partnered with Right at School, and they do before and after care. That would be for full day, or just in the early morning or after school. So nothing in between if you're a half-day student. But information's on our website, or you can look at rightatschool.com. They partner with a lot of local districts, and you can look at Strongsville on their website. Moving into some dates, for those of you who like to get things organized in advance, kindergarten orientation will happen on August 16th. So that's the first day of school for 1st through 8th graders. Instead of the first full day, what we do is we have our kindergarten students come in with their parents, meet the teacher, see the classroom, bring their supplies, learn a little bit about what they'll be studying in kindergarten. You'll get this letter. It's usually about a 2.5 hour time slot. You'll get the letter of what time you should come and reminding you of the date in early August. So nothing you need to do now, but pencil that in that you should be available August 16th or have somebody available to bring your child to kindergarten orientation. Just a note, we won't bus on that day for kindergarten students because it's a short time frame. So plan on bringing them with you as you attend. Kindergarten screening, we will do this half-day screening in early to mid-August for all incoming kindergarten students. Once we know the exact times and dates, we will reach out and get everybody set up to come in on one of those dates. So what we do on that is the state of Ohio has a kindergarten readiness assessment that we have to give all students. What it asks are some basic academic type questions, sounds, letters, numbers. It's really to see where kids are as they enter kindergarten. So we will give the information to our teachers just for a data point. The state gets that information as well. It has no bearing whatsoever on if your child's admitted to kindergarten. So if your child is 5, he or she is going to attend either way. This is just an assessment to see where we are starting. If you're super organized, starting around July 1st, maybe a little sooner, you can go to the district or building website for your supply lists. Here's a recap of important dates. If you're doing full day kindergarten, starting tomorrow, January 12th, 8 a.m., we will open that link. You can submit a request form for your child to attend full day. You have a couple weeks through January 27th to get the $300 deposit to our treasurer's office. This will be for everybody, so half day and full day, unless your child attends our early learning preschool, mid-February and before March 10th. So there's some time in there, about a month, for you to go onto our website and do online pre-registration. What this does is lets us know that you have a child coming to the district, even if you already filled out the full day. That didn't give us enough information. This is where we're going to ask for that required documentation. So we'll upload the new school year stuff mid-February. By March 10th, we ask that you have that done and completed with the required documentation. Mid-April is when we'll send those placement letters as to the buildings. The cancellation deadlines are there. Contracts are mailed in July, So that's where you get the cost broken down as to what it will be for each of the semesters or the half years. The orientation takes place August 16th, and then your child's first day of kindergarten will be August 17th. As a reminder, that second half or the remaining balance will be due mid-December. So again, these are our anticipated dates. They're pretty firm, so put these in your calendar. August 16th, we'll do the orientation, and the 17th will be the first day of kindergarten. Again, you'll get a letter in the mail with specific details about exactly what time on the 16th for orientation. All of this can be found on our Strongsville website, which I already showed you, but there's a great document in FAQ. You can go there, and a couple ways to get there. Again, you can go strongnet.org for families and enroll a student, or you could use the shortcut that I showed you earlier. Starting tomorrow morning, January 12th, you'll want to click on the link that says Full Day Kindergarten Request Form. It'll take you to a survey. Looks like this, but it will be open at 8 a.m., and that's where you will fill that out. And you're essentially saying, yes, I'm interested in holding a spot for my child for full day. Fill that out, follow through with the deposit by January 27th, and then you're set for a while. It's mid-February that you'll want to do the online pre-registration where you fill out all of the paperwork. If you get to a point where you have further questions, financial, you can contact Dawn and she'll help you out. Here is my email. This is probably the quickest and most efficient way to get an answer from me. Full name, Erin Green at scsmustangs.org. Usually works better than calling just because I always have access to my email and can respond a little bit quicker. If you do want to call, this will go to my secretary, Brenda Rosala, who is fantastic and will most likely be able to answer your questions or direct you to someone who can. So we really do look forward to your child starting kindergarten, partnering with you, whether it's your first child or you've had others come through the district. We're excited for you and our kids of 2036. Just want to show you a couple last things to remind you. The website, strongnet.org, that's the home page. You can either do Find It Fast, kindergarten registration, or you can go families and then enroll a student. So scroll down to the E's and then find the kindergarten registration. So here will all the important links be. All the important links will be here. As soon as this is over, we'll get it posted. We'll get the request form on there, which looks like this. It'll be open tomorrow morning at 8 and stay open. The frequently asked questions. Here is again where if you want to pay the deposit online, this will be open for you starting 8 a.m. on Thursday, same time as the actual request form. Immunization requirements. If you're looking for what is my homeschool, I'm not sure, you can click here, Find My Elementary, and it lists all of the streets in Strongsville and the corresponding elementary school. So they're alphabetized. Find your street and it will tell you what your building is. Non-busing streets we talked about. You can find those here if you're not sure if your child will be bused. And then safety town information is also here as well. So more information, kind of a recap of what we talked about tonight for full and half day kindergarten. And that is essentially all of the important information. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. Questions, please reach out to me, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you and have a great night.